And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. Um, Welcome to Millennials Adulting. Sometimes we're adulting. Sometimes we are having lunch in the middle of the day, right? Uh, no, we're not normally live this time, but we're live right now. I'm Eve. That's Marie.
Hey.
Okay. That was a different little 30-second intro. Uh,
I wasn't ready for that. I'm like,
I wasn't ready for
right.
it either.
Nah.
That's different.
Okay.
Um, well, without further ado, let's well, it's been a minute since we've been here, and the things have been thinging. Life has been life, and people have been um, all sorts of all over the place, right? I mean, you're in Texas, I'm in Virginia, and are you seeing that the landscape is different?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like I'm having mixed signals with everything going on right now. So I don't know what it feels like for you where you are. Um,
Um, well, honestly, it doesn't really feel much different. I mean, if I use the internet as a gauge for things, then I would be very maybe down or feeling kind of low because it seems like everybody is posting about all of these things happening. And outside of things are happening all the time. I mean, really, we've talked about people, and I think I've even shown you drone footage. We've watched people blow up like in real time. Maybe not in real time, but just in the last year, right? Things are happening, but now is supposed to be extremely different, and I don't understand that. But maybe that's just maybe that's just me, or maybe that's just here. So try not to blanket statement these things. But if you're not seeing it, or are you seeing it, or it's just
I mean, I've been watching people blow up for 2 years in real time, courtesy of Israel. Like, oh, it's kind of everything's just still kind of going on. Um, I will say, I think that the question is like depending on like, aren't you in Virginia? So I think like for people, it's really big. A big impact is those government jobs. People losing those government jobs. I will say a lot of my friends they're like primarily in IT, so not most of us don't have so that like nothing about that really impacts us. I haven't seen a lot of defense companies that because with us we have I want to say we have Rayvac and we have Lockheed Martin. They're still doing hiring, so the contract companies are still doing what they're doing. But I could see it being impactful, or even too, kind of looking at what education is going to look like in the next couple of years. But even too, that with the high unemployment rate, like that, yeah, yeah. I wasn't. I don't know. I don't know what I. The funny part with the Trump administration or Doge, I didn't know what I was going to see coming. I mean, I didn't. I didn't know they were going to hire an immigrant to fire a bunch of Americans, but you know.
that's a very big thing. I mean, honestly, they have an African American in charge of things, and then is he getting the nigga treatment? I don't know. No, I'm just playing. Uh, I think that it's very strange that we have foreign hands in our things outside of haven't we always had foreign hands in our things? Um,
Maybe not so
but-
direct. The
okay, yeah. So maybe it's just the cloak and
quiet hand,
dagger thing is gone, right?
quiet hand doing things.
I can see how that's a shock. Um, what's not what has been a shock for me has been what they've been publicly announcing that they've been finding. 200-year-old people receiving Social Security and such. And not that I don't think that people have always been getting away with doing things, is who is getting these benefits. And if it's not the people that they say are getting the benefits, then who is abusing the system? Like you're not going to be able to convince me. And I don't necessarily mean you specifically, but maybe you could convince me. But my thought is, a person filing an application is not going to be able to make a system glitch in a way that they're going to be able to receive benefits like that, unless it's been, I don't know, just the world's biggest glitch. Like, how would you write these things off? Or would you just say that's white people, and
I mean, I don't know, because even some of those people that they brought up, they also managed to find a specific African American.
but is it an African American receiving the benefits as much as that person's social security number is being used to receive those benefits?
To me, it just looked like someone had passed away probably and they never reported the person's death or what have you.
I thought that initially. I mean, but then is everybody just doing that? Like, that's how many people are dying and not reporting, and it's just a governmental oversight to the tune of millions?
I mean, but if you think about, I mean, I don't know. To me, that's like, I guess my thought process is I feel like Doge has the wrong focal point. They're looking for the most minute. It's like the garnish. So even if we were looking at millions in fraud, what about the trillions that the Pentagon can't account for? So to me, it's like you're the where you really should be. You're not
Right.
here.
Right.
You're actually like over here and you're finding the minuscule. Oh, I found this thing. Literally, it's like the lemon on the plate. Like, yeah, but there's a steak right here. There's a steak that we can't account for, that we haven't been able to pass an audit in 10 years or so. That, you know, that would be my, like, I don't know. To me, that would have been the first place I went. The place that where I know.
No. We're not going to do the common sense thing. Not the thing where it says, look, the common sense thing is the big businesses that make so much money don't make that much money if it means that their workers are going to have to get on government assistance. Like Walmart employees, there's no reason for you to work for a company that makes that much money and then you have to file social services because they're letting you and making you and allowing you to work all the way up to not full time, or the hours are just really not conducive to life. And I don't know, maybe it's a first world problem, maybe it's a millennial problem, maybe it's an American millennial problem, but some work is not worth it. So if you have to work really strange hours and your family is not being taken care of, or, you know, some sacrifices, I don't see us doing just anything now unless you have to. But then what does that mean? Like, what does that look like? Because maybe it's just I didn't have to. I don't have certain struggles that other people say that they've had struggle as much as being Black in America, and not having a foreign country to rely on has been a struggle because my country doesn't fuck with me. Not really. But what can I do? Which country can I call on for assistance? I can't. So, you know, outside of that, you know, there's everything else. And then with everything else, I'm in agreement. Elon could cut his government funding, right? And then, oof, there's millions of dollars that
Billions
using in other places.
Right? So do you know what the max Social Security is? Do you know what the max is? Like the most you can get?
Is this a per year, per month, or what?
Per month.
No, I have no clue, but I just want to know what metrics you're using.
Per month.
Okay.
It's under $1,000. You really think I give a fuck about somebody pretending their grandma didn't pass away? Like, who the fuck is really living off $1,000 a month?
$1,000.
No.
Okay, so then what about the fact that
it almost promotes, like, I could understand why people would do fraud, crime, like $960 a month. Imagine I worked my entire life, I invested in the Social Security system, and all I got is $960, and maybe my mother lives with me too, and she's getting 9 something. Then she passes away. Do you really think we're surviving off of $2,000 a month? Maybe we qualify for food stamps. Maybe we technically don't, depending on where we're located. Maybe they think 960 should cover my mortgage or my rent or my living expenses and my food at the same time. Or maybe I'm eating fucking cat food because I can't afford to purchase any real. I don't know. There's so many variables to that where it's like, I would think that at 960, I would expect people to exploit a system. And I almost feel like if I've contributed to Social Security my entire life, how the fuck am I only getting 960 a month?
Absolutely, unless they're already tricking it off and then they're going again at the little guy who is only getting 960. You know, I think that there's a bigger demon in the trunk. You know, it's going to be the fact that we are, as a people, kind of waking up to the corruption of it all. So maybe we don't have it right on which evil it is, but just that all of this shit sucks. I mean, I've seen so many people crying on the internet about things that I just thought everybody knew. And it's not a common sense thing as much as it's just when you've grown up a certain way or with certain expectations or under certain expectations, then that's just life. And then from there, you know, you can deal with it as is. You can fight it. You can not fight it. You can take the easy way out. I mean, there are things you can do, but then do you really want to do those things? Taking the easy way out could mean that you oofed yourself, like my 4th grader likes to say. Or maybe it's like what society tells us.
Like you pooped yourself when you say
you oofed
yourself. Like I had an accident.
An accident that you can't come back from. No, it's
you're on yourself. That is an accident you may not be able to come back from,
depending on where you did it. I mean, that's real. But that's kind of what I'm saying. If people are finally realizing that life here is not what everybody is saying that it was, because it's this illusion of inclusion, and really you're not included if you don't fit the criteria. And then, oh shit, white people are finding out that they don't fit the criteria either, as much as they just kind of were able to get in to certain spaces. And then, well, you get kicked out of certain spaces if you don't have the resources. And then,
let's say, so I'm assuming that the white women that voted for Trump, the ones who might also be in government, you know, they're finding out, they're getting laid off. They're finding out that maybe they were a DEI hire.
I mean, that's a hell of a self-inflicted wound, right?
Veterans that voted for Trump, they found out that being a veteran is, because even too, what people don't realize is when you go through those, which I've known for quite some time, and I think I really knew.
You talked about it before, but go ahead.
I was at work, so I took this lower paying job because I thought it was going to be less stressed or whatever. This was in my mind. I forgot about the stress of, or them taking a bunch of shit out, and then the stress of like, I don't feel like I can pay my bills with this little income. That being said, they were very adamant about making sure I filled out the questionnaires. Like if I was receiving any stuff, like if I got food stamp, like they really was like, did you fill it? Did you make sure you do the thing? And right. What it was they made money off of hiring people that were diverse people, or people that came from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. Like you're getting SNAP benefits and they hire you. If you're, you just came off unemployment, they're hiring you. Or again, if you're a veteran or like, I don't qualify. I'm like in my head, I'm like, bitch, you rushing me. I don't qualify for nothing.
Like, Mom, there's a lot of categories that make you diverse.
Yeah, like, are you Hispanic? Right. What are these different things? And so when you fill those things out, those companies are able to get a tax incentive, like a deduction for hiring said employees from these different backgrounds, things like that. But I mean, even too, I think that even just the idea that people don't recognize that DEI is also those accommodations where if a woman's breastfeeding, she has a private room she can go to continue to pump during the day. Right. DEI isn't always just so much about who I'm hiring, but it's how I'm treating my employees when they come into this environment, or how I set up my workplace. Things like that. I think the big factor, and like I said before, is that so many people thought that DEI just meant Black. which is like, so like,
that's the illusion of inclusion, right?
it's like, so we don't do D because we ain't hiring them niggas here. And it's like, yeah, guess what? You're all niggas then. If that's the criteria we're going off of.
That's what I'm trying. Everybody is getting the nigga treatment at this point, and to me, this is just life in a very strange way.
I mean, it's just
expected.
Technically, mm-hmm. If everyone's getting the nigga treatment, I guess it's fascism. When everyone gets the nigga treatment, it's called fascism. When a select few get the nigga treatment, it's called racism.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean,
because the thing about with the fascism, it's like the bulk of people that don't have power have it's socioeconomics that indicates how much power you have in a system that we currently have, right? So because now everyone's being treated like a nigga, it's because they don't have enough money or resources to, I guess, pull themselves or to make themselves exempt from said behavior, said treatment. When you think about it.
No, I mean, that's a good thought to ponder on. And I'm going to have to do that because to me, at the end of the day, all those words and terms and isms that mean that there's no balance and that we're dealing with chaos and just some very retarded shit. It's all racism, white supremacy, because it didn't used to be this interruption or invasion or imbalance like this. Yes, there's always been peopling, there's always been tribes, there's always been conflicts, but this specific type of debauchery, I think, is new. And I don't know that it's something that we always have to deal with as much as we are going to have to face the fact that once you deal with the white boogeyman, there's still going to be a nigga you're going to have to come to grips with because you're probably not going to like each other. You're not going to agree. Somebody's going to have more power or more money, and maybe that makes you jealous, or you don't want to do things, and that's just going to be something you're going to have to deal with at that time. Right now, you got people, specific people, I think, that you can pinpoint and say, yeah, that's kind of a racist area. Maybe I want to stay away from there. But then, like you said, if we're all white and then we're not thinking that our skin color or race is excluding us from the area, then we're not paying attention to anything else. That's why white women were all, my job, or gay men were my job, because maybe they didn't lead with the gay as much as they knew that they got it, and we're filling out those questionnaires like you said. They understand the company kickbacks, and then when you're a person who kind of gets those things, maybe you're a person who can negotiate how much you're worth at that company. And as much as I've seen that firsthand, and then seen companies do things. I live in Virginia, and at will, at risk, at hire, you go work for this person, they can fire you because they want to, and you may or may not get unemployment because of the reason for your termination. And then if you quit, definitely not getting unemployment because you chose to leave. So maybe it's always just been racist.
I don't know how you do the system, to be honest with you. See, that's the thing, though, too, right? Knowledge is power, and it's very empowering. So for me, in my experience, typically what I would do when I'm prepared to quit a job or they're on my last motherfucking nerve is that I'm going to go on a federal medical leave act. I'm going to use the FMLA.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the therapist. I'm going to continue to see the therapist. I'm going to paint my role at the job being very stressful, and I'm going to say that the job is impacting my mental health. I'm going to then get paid to be off of work. And in fact, I'm going to continue to get paid to be off of work because I'm going to use the short-term disability or even the long-term, depending on how long I'm going to be gone, right? And make sure, obviously, I can cover my bills. Some companies are different. They'll cover 60%, some 70, some 80, some 90. Some will give you a whole damn check. And then I may attempt to come back, but then I may quit. But I'm going to have my therapist write a note and say that the work environment
environment was too much. Yeah. I mean, that's genius.
So then I'm going to actually still go file unemployment. because long as I have that note and I can work other places, I just can't work there.
That
I can
place,
still collect unemployment. Just
the
so,
more you know. No, that's
and I
fine.
learned that in my 20s, and I've actually rinsed and repeated that with other companies as well. Just so you know, you gotta.
Well, there you have it. Well, and look, I definitely think that if you know that we're existing inside of a system, then, once you start to learn how things are supposed to work, then you can learn the loopholes and the go arounds and the roundabouts. You cannot play the game if you don't know the rules. Like, you're gonna lose every single time because it, why are you playing? It's you're throwing a football into the basketball hoop. That doesn't make any sense. Or I don't know, you're kicking the soccer ball on the basketball court. But you know what doesn't make sense to me? Oh, this is like a random moment, but it takes me to this story that I was telling you about earlier. What doesn't make sense to me are girls' trips. Have you, and you might be a girls' trip type of girl because I think you've done
So
the
I
desert in the
trip.
middle of nowhere desert thing.
I do girls trips. Periodically I'll do a girls trip, and there'll be like one guy. Like there's that one guy. There's always just
No,
one.
wait, that matters. That matters. Is it a gay guy or is it
No, a heterosexual guy.
Okay, that fucking matters to my point. So go ahead.
But no, I'm with the girls trip. I will say this day and age, I'm not as, I don't want to do a full long trip, or it depends on who I'm with. Like I'll say this, when I'm with Taurus women, they're the best for me to travel with. They're very, I don't know, they're down, they're cool, whatever. Like they can do something, like we can go do the thing, we cannot do the thing, they can do their own thing. You could not want to go, and they're fine with that. There's no pressure, no one's mad at each other. It's a very chill environment when I travel with Taurus women.
It is a very chill.
Other groups, not so much. Then you always got that one that may kind of do too much to impress the one man that's there. But what are your thoughts on the girls trips? Like,
thank you.
Take me
no, it's good. I'm glad you said that. There's always a male there, and to me that matters because that's what I don't get about the girls trip. You want to go out with your girls and tour the world. I think that's cool, but you are a woman in the world, and then shit, if you're an American woman, we're not equipped to deal with some shit that I've seen in the news, even though we're a place that has all these guns and violence and shit. We're a country where women were saying that they picked the bear over the man. And
I mean, I sometimes
I know how you feel about that, but still, that's still kind of that insane to me. But the girls' trip, when there's no man or security, even if he's not, there's no illusion of protection. That's strange to me.
That's funny because that reminds me of my birthday trip to Sedona, and we had these floor to ceiling windows. But mind you, we're also out in the mountains, and my friends kind of like, we're all being a little so even too, we have to check everything out first. And I think even one night I was like, I was kind of scared. I remember one night I didn't close my door all the way. So when I did wake up, my door was wide open to it was like,
it was open?
Yes, like open because I didn't like close it tight. But it was
okay. Like you meant to close it, but okay.
I didn't close it properly when I went to go. I think I was wore out. I went to go lay down. And so when I woke up, my door's like just wide open. And it's like, oh no. And the funny part is I love a good adventure. So I am the type of person that, okay, we're out here. Then it's like, then later on I start thinking like, well, what about the serial killers? What if? I'm like, what's the likelihood of the serial killers killing us? Like, so my rationale is that no one's just going to come take my responsibilities from me. So once I really think about that, then I know I'm safe. Like
wildin'. No, you are wildin' 100% certifiably crazy. And I can only say that because I used to play the Pokemon Go game, and not because I'm like a Pokemon person or anything. It's just the adventure for me. It was just going in random places and finding these little Pokemon, and that shit was really cool. And then when you think about it, some of the places were kind of really sketch.
Weren't people like dying and shit?
People were, but that was just some dumb shit. Like if you found Pikachu in the middle of the ocean, you can't swim. Why are you jumping in the ocean? Like what's wrong?
But I can see how though you could be on your phone not paying attention.
You could absolutely end up right, and then that's just some goofy shit that I don't think other women in the world are doing because they don't have the luxury of this time.
I
don't have any time. Go ahead.
And I wanted to go to Cuba by myself, and my family was like freaking out.
Hell no!
I make up these rationales like I'm overweight. Who the fuck is kidnapping?
I don't even know what that means. But if that kept
these are the things that I'm kind of rash. Like no one's gonna kidnap an overweight woman. And even somewhere like Cuba, they're gonna be more like, I guess, intrigued by a blonde white woman as opposed to me because I look like I could be Cuban.
You look like you. Okay, so if we got you're blending in fine.
Like no one wants me.
The weight thing, I will only say that kind of is if there's a stereotype. There's a stereotype, so I'm not gonna say that's. But no, if they want you, they're gonna get you.
So why would they want me?
There's gonna be a whole bunch of people trying to get you.
Running around here half naked. Why would they want me and not like go? Look, not that I'm saying like go after them, get them.
No,
like
she looked like she eating good. She probably needs to be in the kitchen. We're gonna get her. No.
Now they're trafficking for cooks. They're like, wow, like no one wants to sleep with you. We just want you to cook for us.
No, we're gonna cook. No, this is one of these girls trip things that to me in real time, I don't take trips like this because I don't think it's safe. Not that I don't think that I can defend myself, but you never know. And again, it's not that the man that goes with you is going to be able to protect you because I've read and seen the video and stories of couples out in the world and they get fucked up too. It's not exclusive to girl trips, but this is a girl from Virginia and from Virginia.
Search for the American college student who vanished on spring break and new details about what happened in the hours before she disappeared. Ariel Reshef is in the Dominican Republic with the latest. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, Michael. Authorities say that student was doing what so many do on spring break. She went to a nightclub with her friends and returned in the early morning hours. But when the group went back to the hotel, she stayed by the beach. And now investigators are piecing together what happened next.
This morning, officials in the Dominican Republic say they are expanding the search area in the urgent hunt for a college student who disappeared 6 days ago on the beach outside her Punta Cana resort. And now, new details about those last hours before 20-year-old Sodiksha Konanki, who was celebrating spring break with 5 friends, vanished. At 4 a.m., Konanki and her friends headed to the beach after visiting a local nightclub. Almost 2 hours later, the group seen on surveillance camera heading back to their rooms. Konanki stayed at the beach with an unidentified man. According to police who have interviewed the man and say he is not a suspect, the two of them went into the water and got caught in a wave. He told police he returned to the beach where he vomited before falling asleep. Surveillance cameras at the hotel capturing him returning to his room at 9:55 that morning. Konanki's clothes were found on the beach with no sign of a violent struggle. Her family telling ABC News they met with the man who last saw their daughter after they arrived in Punta Cana to help with search efforts.
We walked to the beach along with the boy, and the boy helped us, and he was demoing us kind of like what really happened.
Police in Loudoun County, Virginia, a suburb of D.C. where Konanki lives, say this is an open investigation.
Obviously with the helicopters, drones, boats, they're doing everything they can to search. We're not ruling anything in or ruling anything out just yet.
Really an all hands on deck approach. The FBI, the U.S. Embassy, and local officials are now combing through CCTV.
Okay, so where'd we go? Why aren't we on the screen? I know that y'all can hear us. I just don't know why you can't see us. But let me see if I can change that real quick. What the heck? Oh, look. So this is a StreamYard being stupid.
Coming.
It is. It's Oh, come on. StreamYard decided that they wanted to try to be like OBS because they found out that a lot of us were leaving StreamYard. There I am. And the whole reason that I haven't quite migrated over to OBS is because I don't like this shit. And then the fact that StreamYard is trying to be like OBS is really, really irking me. So, you guys, I'm sorry that you have to deal with my little technical difficulties right now, but I didn't know that when I shared the screen that it was gonna, oh, now we're all super freaking small. Sorry, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. I mean, here we are, we're back. Let's save that as something. Why are we on the fucking side? Okay. I don't know. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know why the damn screen is. Oh, now we're super big. Anyway, the girl from Virginia was on a trip for spring break and she went to the Dominican Republic. That's not foreign. We do that. We go to the Dominican Republic. We go to the Caribbean for spring break.
I wouldn't have gone.
Especially now.
I would never go to the Dominican Republic. I don't support the Dominican Republic because I feel like they kind of act as white supremacists towards Haitians. So, but they're tan supremacists or something, or biracial. So either way, I don't.
Okay, I got it.
The DR at all.
That's fair, very fair, and I
more with my children, so they know already. Like we don't go there.
I understand that.
Not including with the liquor shit. Remember the alcohol stuff with them?
No, the alcohol shit was pretty insane. And that's why I wouldn't go. You're not about to get me with the crazy toxic alcohol, fake alcohol. No, that's insane. And then well, like
the irony is I'm not a drinker when I travel as much because I'm more into exploration. So being somewhere, especially like DR, somewhere Caribbean where it's hot, alcohol and heat don't go together.
No, right. So you're already gonna get extra.
I'm probably more sober when I'm out the country than I ever am in the country.
That's safe. And maybe you're thinking about your safety. Maybe you're not thinking about it in your conscious, but just your subconscious. You just said alcohol and heat don't mix.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be
your age, or is that just because you're being safe?
Even when I was younger in my early 30s or early 20s, I never really, that's just not a vibe to me because I'm trying to and for me I'm more
and
I'm explore. So I'm doing things. I need to be sober doing the things. I don't want to have heat stroke.
Right.
Just alcohol can be fun and then can also not be fun.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's something that some people have to learn as they grow and mature. And college students, for what it's worth, where they said that she's from in Northern Virginia, that's a very entitled place to be. She probably comes from a family that has resources, and then maybe she doesn't have some thoughts about safety. And then I can kind of understand that just with first worlding and the adulting that I've been doing in the past 37 years. But from there, I don't know if I'm gonna I saw another version of this story where it said that the waves were insane that day. So even if you are an experienced swimmer, are you going to be going into the water when it looks like that? Is this really...
Sometimes that water can be dangerous for an experienced swimmer. Then there's even weird things like, even depending on what the tide looks like, the moon does impact the tide. I've been places and I've watched the moon tow in water into areas and literally flood out the entire area you're normally walking in, but it'd be flooded just because of. And then the next day, when the when the moon moves, then the water goes back in.
Well, yeah, that's the moon for you. And then if you're not from that area, you're not going to know. I mean, you'll know that the tide happens, but then maybe you don't know that this is that season where you can't really just be on the water like you normally would be.
But then it's like, is that adults or is that just naive college students?
Well, I think that it's I think that there's a bigger demon at play. And the demon is that the rest of the world doesn't fuck with us. Not really. And then what happens is you get people from here and we go places and we think that we can just live our lives because people from other places come here and just live their lives. And not only are you not getting any safety talks or any, you really don't want to go outside of the resort because it might not be safe. You know, you're probably not doing the research on where you are as much as you're just trying to have a good time. And then people take advantage of that. And from the pyramids in Kemet to Dominican Republic, I mean, you've got people preying on ignorance in general, right? You can't tell me that a person selling trinkets outside of what's supposed to be a holy place is a person who reveres this holy place. So is it a holy place, or are you a holy person, or is this your place that you're selling trinkets in front of, or are you cosplaying? Are you taking advantage of my wanting to have something authentic, or is any of this real? You know?
Because I ran up the cost of living because me and my fucking friends come here every day, all day, and we spend so much money that now it's unaffordable for you to live in the country that you live in. And so you
feel some kind of way. Hey, look, and you're bringing up that devil's advocate aspect that I love because, you know, the conversation, it could go many different ways. But as Americans, I think that if we're not extra careful, then things like this happen. And then not only did I not understand the girls trip aspect of it, but, you know, sometimes resources don't give you all of the information because you feel like you know it all. You know, maybe you think you got it. Maybe this would never happen to me because my friends would never. And then you think about that girl whose friends invited her on the trip, or she paid for her friends to go on the trip, and they murdered her. And was it? I hope it wasn't the Dominican Republic, but it was another Caribbean.
It was like Mexico or something.
Okay, yeah, so maybe that was in Mexico. But still, it's just it's very crazy to have to leave to get fucked up like that.
I mean, they could have done that to her in America.
They could have done it to her here, but I'm just saying, maybe the thought was if we do it somewhere else, and they're not going to be able to put the pieces together. I don't know that that's an inaccurate thought either, because the way that people seem to be escaping crime, you know, you might think that you can escape crime, but that might be an American thought. Like, to me, as an American, we might have to have second, third, and fourth thoughts when we're traveling abroad. And then from there, if that's how the locals are treating us when we're traveling, then maybe we need to have thoughts as locals when we're here about our spaces. You know, maybe make it quid pro quo, make it equal, make things make sense, or just be more vigilant about your surroundings and be ready to do what you need to do so that you can get home. But I think that it was stories like that kind of is sad for me, just because it's like, damn, you didn't know better. But then, like,
I mean, college student, her frontal lobe isn't even fully developed. Of course, she didn't know better.
I don't know. As a college student, I wasn't I don't know. Is it college students now versus college students? And I was in college 20 years ago. I wasn't traveling to foreign countries and getting drunk.
Wasn't there the Freaknik 20 years ago?
I think that was a little longer than that. I was too young for Freaknik, but still,
I guess what I'm still doing questionable shit forever.
No, people have been doing questionable shit forever, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you leave this country, the only place that should have your back if you're an American. The rest of the world doesn't fuck with you. So you might have to be vigilant. You might have to be extra vigilant because of this understanding of who you are and where you are. And then again, just as a Black American, I didn't think about traveling like that and doing things without these extra thoughts. What do you say?
I'm like, have you ever just done anything spontaneous, like skinny dip?
No, I'm spontaneous all the time.
And more so,
I just told you I travel in the goddamn woods to catch Pikachu. Like that's not what I'm saying.
No, I know, but I'm just thinking of like in my own experience, I have absolutely skinny dipped in the Gulf, and then thought about it the next day, like, or like, have you been out there when the sun comes up, and then you're like, damn, there's all these little creatures. So that was out there. Ooh. So there's that.
Wait. Skinny dipped in the Gulf in America, or you were in Mexico?
In America, but I was still on a private beach, predominantly by PW.
And
mostly owned by whites, private.
You riding the line right now. It's got to be something you did in a foreign land.
I mean, if everyone around me was white and I was the only person of color, it was a foreign. Thank you. Thank you.
Silly girl. Look, I'll tell you an example.
Thank you very much.
I'll give you an example. As a child, I went to Germany, and all the little white girls that I was with were stealing shit from this store that we were in. And I was like, shit, I'm about to steal some shit too. Do you know that I was the only one who got caught? And do you know that
watching your Black ass? Now that you should have you didn't.
But look,
did you think you weren't Black then? Did you not know you were
Black? Not that I didn't think that I was Black, because these are also people who are very fascinated by me and the other Black people.
That's also why they noticed your Black ass. They're like,
but look, this is as a child, I wasn't having leveled thoughts like this as much as I was having thoughts. If we were all doing bad, then we would all get caught. Period. From there, first experience with, oh no, nigga, not you, but again, I'm Black. So it's not just that I'm an American, it's that I'm a Black American. So yeah, not only am I singled out at home, but I'm singled out here too. It doesn't matter. From there, other people are getting the nigga treatment. That girl on our screen wasn't a Black American. She was an Indian American.
But I don't know, do you think she was given the nigga treatment? Because I mean, for them to have helicopters and all these things out.
I was wondering if you were going to catch that last part. They got everybody looking for her.
I got it. But you also have to understand the the position that Indians have in America, their contribution that's well noted. And then, like you said, it sounds like she comes from an affluent community. So in essence, of course, they have all that's like the next thing closest to being a white woman in America, because they're coveted just because of what the value that they bring to this country.
So now we're slicing and dicing.
People don't bring value, but theirs is calculated differently because of what it does for these white people, right?
Right. No, absolutely. And I'm glad we can level it out, because it's just I think that people should know that.
So even too, it was almost like a white girl going out there, and
it kind of was, but she didn't necessarily. I don't know what's going on my screen. She didn't quite understand where she was.
I don't, but here's the thing, like something really could have happened, because sometimes there is a high tide, right? So that's the part too. Something genuinely could have happened, or nothing could have happened and he did something or harmed her.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but even too, my concern too, if they were that fucked up, that's also scary too, that you'd be at a beach being that fucked up, where you just fall asleep right there on the beach. Like you weren't able to, and to be honest with you too, I've been sucked into an undertow. So I know what that's like, where you're fighting for your life. So it's not a where they say, it's like it's not a wave you can see. It's something under the ocean where you can't really see it, but you and it can pull you.
Experience,
but it can be so fucked up that you can't even go get help. You just fall asleep drunk on the beach, or you're waiting for her to come to. I don't, there's so many and I would, it's like one of those things where you would want that to be what occurred. Like maybe it
Yeah,
was something
yeah.
like this, so it wouldn't be so sinister as somebody did something to her.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel bad.
Open investigation. I'm not saying that he did it. I'm just saying that it's just sometimes I guess you have more time to get away with things if you're not quite here. And as much as I didn't only want to talk about that, well, I mean, I think we've talked about a few different things. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about. It was this tweet, and it was about cis women. So in the chat, if you're here, if you're a women's, I don't know how you identify, but try to find the tweet real quick. Do you identify as a cis? Here it is. Hold on. Let me not even ask the question. Here's the tweet. And then I'll tell you how I feel. And then I'll tell you, you can tell us how you feel. I won't make you lead it this time so that you can take the not hot seat for once. Okay. Can you see it?
Let me see.
Okay. I hope I don't mess it up again doing this. It says, I'm sorry, but why must cis women have to accommodate or be expected to always include trans women in their spaces? So that's the original tweet. How do you feel about that tweet? Why do cis women always have to include trans women in their spaces?
I think it has to do with intersectionality, perhaps. I don't. So the thing is, for me, it doesn't bother me. There might be something that.
Oh wait, no, I did it. Damn it! I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to put you in the hot seat and make you tell you. I was gonna tell you first. Isn't this intersectionality just the tweet in general? Like, that's my thought.
I mean, the fact that I had to identify as a cis woman.
Thank you. That part right there, to me, is like, you're already doing
I guess maybe she's cognizant of that. So then it's like, because even too, she's identifying herself as a cis woman, she's even more cognizant of the fact that she's sharing a space with someone. I don't necessarily know if I share a space with trans women or trans. I don't. It's one of those things. Like I don't think too much about it. If let's say there's a situation where I offend someone, I'm just going to apologize and keep it moving. I'm not here to fight a battle on the bridge, whatever.
Offend somebody how? Like you call them sir, but they want to be called ma'am, or what? Like offend them?
Or I guess call them sir, and they really want to be called ma'am, and that's occurred. Or like
you've served somebody.
I mean, or not even served, but maybe I called them by their name they were born with, and that's not what they're going by. Like, oh, I forgot, it slipped my mind, or I referred to her as a he, and and that happens. I really like, it's not a bridge. Okay. It's not a place I'm willing to die on.
Okay.
So, hey, sorry.
Right, so, okay.
I mean, if you think you're a mountain, then you're just a fucking mountain. Like I have better shit to do. It doesn't really impact my day. If you want to be a panda bear, a Care Bear, I'm fine with it. But I do think it's weird so when I do see the cisgender thing or cis woman, I actually have to pause and then remember, like, is that me? Like, do I need to look that shit up again to make sure? Like, oh yeah. I was born a woman. I'm still one now. I was born with a vagina. Still one now. I think that's it. Now it can be a little confusing, I guess, or a little like, shit, there's all these like the pronouns, the nouns. And you're like, God damn, like. But I mean, I guess I don't know who's it more tiring for. Someone that has to constantly correct people. I'm not sure. I
can understand that. It's not worth the battle. You're on the side of everything doesn't have to be an argument, especially if it's not relevant to anything that we're doing, so you're a chick with a dick. What does that have to do with you bagging my groceries? And then from there, if you can't bag my groceries because you're a chick with a dick, then maybe you don't need this job.
you know, as a woman with I have facial hair. You know, I've got laser.
Oh, everybody has facial hair. I've been seeing
Now
your
with my minoxidil,
God.
even the things that were gone, because again I had laser hair removal. It's
I
like
didn't know this.
all
Okay.
coming back. It's like, and like no, so I have the magnifier. Like, damn, am my little edges about to cut into my eyebrow soon?
It's a
That being
steroid.
said, though, I was at the craft store the other day with my daughter, and there was a woman, but I mean, she was of the Caucasian persuasion.
Okay.
Her mustache was very prominent.
Oh.
But she almost, if she didn't have the breast, she could have been a boy. So there's something I have to like kind of say that
A boy with a mustache and breasts.
but
is-
men have breasts every day, right? So there's that. That's a thing. Unfortunately, like a lot of men, there are men that have breasts, and that's where like it kind of gets like there. Apparently there is a lot of nuances, and it's none of my business. That's what I've just decided. Like
It's not. You're right.
Gene is dominating,
Oh,
not
you're right.
dominating. I could actually see how that young lady, if she said she identified with being a male, I could see that because I literally was like, huh, is that, look, I'm all, huh, is that a man or like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And the fact that I didn't know reinforced this shit. There's a lot going on in the universe as far as autonomy and the things with hormones. Like they're changing, they're ever changing, you know, even to women with PCOS, higher testosterone levels. I want to say, and then I think biology, like there's certain things that can impact that. I was 2 months ago, my doctor actually thought I was postmenopausal, which I'd never even been to perimenopause. Then we did new blood work and it was like, oh, you're fine and you're not in menopause at all. So last week, so 3 months ago, you thought that I was undergoing, like I already had menopause. And then this week, it looked like I can have a kid tomorrow? Huh. What do you know? Now, my explanation was, I was like, well, men don't be doing nothing to make you want to have sex with them. So maybe my hormones just not working. And maybe something changed in my life.
Maybe some things change.
Maybe some things change. Maybe somebody, you know, maybe now I do or something. I don't know. No, but there's so many things that happen that, you know, even with science, there's nothing that, you know, science talks about the fact that nothing is actually static for the most part when it comes to science and anatomy in the body. And yeah, like I just mind my motherfucking business. But that woman clearly she is making room, or she has a space, and then maybe she's frustrated with the fact that she needs to make a space to be politically correct.
And that's kind of where I am. I when I read the tweet, I was just like, you're kind of doing it by labeling yourself cis. I will not label myself cis, but if you how people want to identify is all right with me, because, well, y'all know I'm in the delineation era of my life. So naming oneself is very important. What you can't do is you can't take my name. We can't do that. That's not delineating. That's just cosplaying, and we got enough of that going on. So I'm more of a, you know, safe spaces are necessary for everybody's well-being. And then, you know, maybe you create your own space, or, you know, if there are spaces that are safe for specific reasons, then they should continue to remain spaces that are safe for those reasons. So if you wouldn't have a pedophile reading to children at the library, then the fact that they're dressed in drag now would not excuse the fact that they are a pedophile. You know, you can't just, oh, I got a dress on, or I cut my dick off, I'm safe. And I mean, I get that some people actually thought that maybe the uniqueization of men, or some men would make their need to do that to children or unwilling participants would go away. But I don't think that it's related to their penis as much as it's the person who needs some help. And when you start chopping off pieces of somebody, then you might be adding problems versus solving problems. So
I don't know, I'm sure it probably made them feel good if, you know, that was their solution after someone took a child. Like I'm
not saying chopping it off as a result of That's not what I'm saying. But
I
saying
meant like a punishment, you know, in
yeah.
Louisiana, that's their new thing for anyone
The
that,
castration.
yeah. I think it's figuratively, like, you know, we're all about figurative shit. So just we cut your penis off, you know.
I mean, chemical castration was a thing in South Carolina prisons. Actually, I've spoken with a woman who, she might have been the first or one of the first women to undergo said treatment, and it was against the law. But I guess when you're in jail, you can kind of get away with doing things to prisoners, especially at a certain time period.
Was the person of color or no?
Yeah, she was black.
Oh, they didn't do anything to people of color. Like, that's pretty, you know, that's what they wrote a lot of things, the book on. I recently found out this one product that I really love called Tret. The doctor, it's a form of retinol. It's a part of vitamin A or whatever it causes. It helps with like cell recovery, cellular turnover, really helps you stay young. However, the experimentation with Tret was actually on Black prisoners. And understand something with Tret can burn your skin depending on the levels. Even when you start out with Tret, you start off with like an extremely low dose and you work your way up so your skin can get used to it. And so they use Black prisoners as his I guess
experimental group, because you don't have any rights when
that
you're
was
in
his
jail.
control group. Yeah.
Right.
And then we've seen that historically forever. I've also discovered a lot of stuff was being tested on even military personnel.
Yeah,
you had a large
line over your rights, certain things like that.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting country that we live in. To me, even more interesting that people would want to come over here knowing all of the bad things that we haven't taken care of yet.
Well, I think they know those things. You know, that's one thing too about immigrants. They really have a lot of faith in what America can do. You know, more faith.
The illusion of inclusion is a killer.
There's just that chance, that hope. I know some immigrants. I came here with $700 in my pocket, and you know, and now they're a homeowner and blah blah blah. Like, and then they work so hard and shit, and probably whoever they work for like has trillions and like 4 homes the size of like 2. You know, yeah, that's the whole thing. But in their mind, you know, they accomplished their goal. So
exactly. If you can get here, then you might have the opportunity to pass go and collect your $200. You just might have to do very strange things, especially in a place where you thought things were free. And I'm sorry, it's going to have to be the illusion of inclusion for me, because once you get here, you find out how things are. And then I guess to me, you bite the bullet and say, all right, yeah, this is how things are. And I'm just going to take it and work hard and mind my business and do things. Or you, I don't know, you fight back. And 2 years ago, you had Uber drivers fighting back against the minimum wage thing, right?
I mean, I don't really see some of those people coming here and fighting back. If anything, they just accept what it is. And I mean, unless you're like a Venezuelan gang in Colorado, for the most part.
Well, no, they're taking over places, and then if you have the weapons and the local law enforcement is afraid of you, then they can't do things like send in the National Guard like they did for Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921, or I don't know, any of the other Black Wall Streets that have been fizzled out. Oscarville, Georgia was flooded. You know, it's very strange how they can find all of these militaristic acts to enact on people who are supposed to be here, and then people who are not supposed to be here. We don't know what to do with these people. We can't do anything.
You've done your, like, in essence, they feel like you Blacks have done enough. And you can't have a better life than me, which is even too why some segregation was removed, because separate but equal. So the idea of you having something equal was problematic. So you just come use our shit, because you're not going to get your own. No, you're not going to get your own.
Go.
And that's really what that boiled down to. It wasn't even that I want to kumbaya with you and let's all become one. It was like, no. You're not gonna go get some new nice shit. Like,
right. Come get this shit that I done used already. And be all right, because you got it, didn't you? That's what you wanted. Shit. You fought for this. No, we didn't fight for
This
inclusion.
flavorless food.
We fought for resources and are still fighting for resources. And people are finding out that that fight is not exclusive anymore. Everybody right now is feeling the
Like,
same.
you mean everyone's fighting for resources, so then maybe they can start a race war and just put us all against each other. Like
I don't think that that's ever really going to happen, though.
you have one. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to go get the cookies from them? Like, we're just gonna. It's gonna be. It's like we're really in the face of what is it? What do they call those communities? Or when you talk about it's not a utopia.
Dystopia.
Yeah, dystopia.
Yeah.
That's really where we're at right now.
No, dystopian societies are very. Those are some of the best stories, right? You don't know what to expect. But you made me think about one thing. I hope I can find it real quick. There's this video I saw, and the girl is a Hispanic immigrant, and she's talking about how people used to be very chatty with her, very kiki, and just excited to be around her. Right now, they're kind of not wanting to talk to her anymore, and she had a whole freaking fit. And I was like, what? You're mad people don't want to be your friend? And then is that really what's happening? You're trying to go out and make friends, and then people are saying no, they don't want to be your friend anymore. Hold up, is this it? Don't be a commercial. I've never cried because I wanted people to be my friend, but maybe again that's just my understanding of who I am in this country. Oh yeah, I think this is it. Phil, you found this earlier. Yeah, I think this is it. Share in the chat. What's going on, Taisha and Jay and Patrick? Welcome. Boom, shared, unmute, full screen.
Many people from the Black community telling me to go back to Mexico, telling Mexicans to go back to Mexico because we're illegal and it's a crime. It was also a crime when your ancestors went to Mexico, when they were escaping the white people and Mexico helped them. A lot of Mexicans got killed for that. They helped them. They help your people. We didn't oppress you guys.
That's actually not the video. This is a whole nother video. Since she's starting here, let me just go back real quick. I wasn't expecting this one.
It was also a crime when your ancestors went to Mexico, when they were escaping the white people and Mexico helped them. A lot of Mexicans got killed for that. They helped them. They help your people. We didn't oppress you guys. And this is how you guys pay us. In the past, Black people needed Mexicans. Right now, Mexicans need you guys. And in the future, you never know because things change. Sometimes maybe the white people are going to need us. Maybe the Black people are going to need us. You don't know because God give us things, give us blessings, but he can take them away so fast.
I'm going to stop sharing on that and try to figure out why the fuck we're not on the screen anymore. There we are. Nope. There's one of us. And there's two of us. Okay. Yeah, that's not the video I was trying to show, but that's a different video. God does take things and give things if that's the system you believe in. How you feel about that?
Nothing. I mean,
you don't feel nothing about what she said?
Mexico's first president was Black.
Okay.
He was Black and he was Black in Spanish. He was basically black and white because a Spaniard is a fucking white person. So he was black and white.
Spanish means that you speak Spanish. Like
we were from Spain.
From Spain.
Europeans.
So more probably. But go ahead.
But he was black and white, I guess. Mexico did outlaw slavery. That's part of even too where the succession when Texas became its own country. And then because Texas really ran the risk of Mexico still like taking over, that's when they wanted to join the Union. Even with joining the Union, it falls back to the Missouri Compromise we talked about, where for every slave state, there has to be a free state. For every free state, there has to be a slave state. And then that's when California also, they wanted California in the Union because of the gold rush. So I guess there is a history there. Is it recent? Probably not so much. Am I a fan of the rhetoric, that people marginalize people against marginalized people? No, absolutely. Actually, I find it, if anything, more amusing and kind of disgusting to some degree. But simultaneously, I also know that there are people that, they feel how they feel. So there's the ADOS group where they feel like, we're the real Americans, even though to some degree Mexicans typically are just colonized Native Americans that are indigenous to the land, and they've been moved around. They talk about how they took Native Americans from America and actually put them in some of those islands around there just to get them away from, so they couldn't keep attacking them, or so they could keep the Native indigenous people's land. So there's so much history there. But as far as, I don't know how she's kind of framing it.
She's framing it like kind of how you said, which is why, again, that's strange that that's the video that it was. But I don't think that they're going to be able to do the race war thing, because I think most people are like you, even though they might not know the history, saying or equating oppressed people's oppression for saving you from some oppression now is very strange correlation of things. And then if it wasn't just yesterday, if we're talking hundreds of years, then are we even talking about the same thing? Is this the same thing? And then from there, well, again, it's kind of silly. I don't think that you're going to be able to pit people against each other because of one sob story.
I think it happened. So I'm going to say this. One thing that, I don't talk to my father as much, but I do recall him being one of those Americans where it's like, why are they speaking Spanish in this country? Even though Spanish was the first language actually spoken in this land when we came here, as far as documented, that was one of the first languages because of Spaniards. So it's a Black American, but it's like he has that idea too of, these he is that American that's like I'm assuming to some degree, probably anti-immigrant. Haven't really had a conversation about it recently, but I thought it kind of reeked of white supremacy to me when I heard it. It was kind of like, you actually, okay, so you found someone to blame for your shortcomings, your hardships, whatever. Never mind the poor decisions you've made, the series of, because even to a lot of times people, like if I'm railroaded into only blue collar jobs, there might be a particular reason. Maybe I'm a felon. Maybe there's something I did. There's a reason why I can't go out or move around or get into, kind of just like when we left the industrial age, we moved, it's like there's a manufacturing age, there's technology age, right? So the big thing right now is technology. So it would be in your interest to pursue a field in that realm. If there's a particular reason you can't get in there, it could be something you did. It's not just, oh, well, they just ain't want to hire a nigga like me. No, it was, maybe your background or whatever. But I say that to say that I've seen people make excuses or shit on other immigrants. And the reason why this other immigrant might be doing better than you is because maybe they're not an alcoholic or a drug user. They don't have a felony. There's these other things that motherfuckers are failing to mention, like, but yeah, I used to beat on my baby mama and I got a domestic charge, or I have a fucking DUI. There's things people leave out where you're like,
there are extenuating circumstances.
Like, are the Mexicans taking your job, or did you not show up to your fucking PO, or did you fail to piss clean? And I say that for whites too, because that's their thing too. And they have a fucking plethora of history of a criminal background that they're not really talking about. You know what I mean? And the fact that that's why they're looking for that second chance at the construction site or whatever. Like, cut this shit.
Look, that's not a bad way to skin that cat, especially since you got both sides of that coin working for you. I do have to reiterate that the Black president of Mexico, I believe, would have been a Moor if he were Spanish. I think that just from the little Google search, it was saying that he was one of those biracial people where he had African and it says Mexican, but there is no such thing as a
Like it's
Mexican,
Mexican,
so it
exactly.
would have to be indigenous. And if you're black
Either
and
you're indigenous or going back to they were white. Because even too, the Anglo Mexicans really claim like they're like, no, fucker, your ancestry is really, it's no different than like an Afrikaner. Your ancestry is like British or Dutch.
oh, right, which means that you're not that. Absolutely, absolutely. Like Elon Musk, right? But
Exactly. That's exactly who I thought of when I said it.
So, but and then he was executed. So if anything, I mean, there were only a little, there was a very small window of his reign and allowing the escaped enslaved to do anything. But then without black people, there would be no Mexican independence. So I think that there are some stories that need to be uncovered when we're talking about, well, what did you do for me and what have I done for you? As much as I think we've done a lot for a lot of people, and then we really shouldn't be expecting people to do things for us as much as we've done for them. We really should just probably mind our business and then, let people do what they're going to do as long as it doesn't impede on our business. But that's just my two thoughts for this afternoon. Jay saying that she is finally able to catch a live makes me think that we might need to try to do it during the day, but we'll kind of see. You have any thoughts for the people about the things? Or
I mean, my only thoughts are that, if I don't, it's funny you say that, you're like, well, just mind our business. And someone even asked me too, like, well, it seems like we're always advocating. And I could just be lucky that I know the others that advocate on our behalf. You know what I mean? So I could be lucky in that sense where I do know, people that would stand with us on the front line that aren't black. However, I do believe that, it's kind of like that old saying, I think it was like a Jewish author. It was like, well, they came for the butcher, but I wasn't a butcher. They came for the such. So to me, and from what we've even seen, it's like they just come for one group to the next group. And it's like, or even two, now they vilify this group and then they get comfortable with them. Now they're going to vilify this group. Then it's to vilify this group. And it's like, it's just like a cycle. So to me, it's not even so much about who's standing with me. It's what I stand up for, my morals and my principles, who I am, how I so honor. Whether I'm always like, what did Malcolm X say? He's like, I stand for right no matter who it is. I'm out no matter, like, I'm here for the truth no matter who's telling it. And I feel like I live by that. And I feel that as though that maybe that could be to my benefit, it could be to my demise. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to lose any sleep because I did something that went against my own moral compass.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's real. You can't do things that don't make sense for you, because really we don't have long here. And if you want to spend your time feeling good, then do that shit. God damn it! Don't feel weird or try to be somebody you're not just because.
And then you losing sleep because you feel bad about. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna do what I deem to be right and call it a day.
And I really think that would help a lot of people. Really, just the honesty aspect of living our lives. But that's just me, and I'm just Eve, and that's Marie, and you can join us on a Tuesday, probably, maybe in the afternoon, but we will let you know next time we'll go live. Hit the bell or the likes, and maybe YouTube or Facebook will let you know next time. But until next time, bye.
Bye.